This is episode 15 of the Park It Podcast. I'm joined by an old friend, good friend of mine, Ty Hopkins, who you're an actor these days, right, man?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing these days, man.
That's that's crazy because like I remember when you were Tess from PG, had bars.
Yeah, I still got them,
I,
I
I know.
still got them. I dust somebody off, Nah,
Yeah,
for real. I still do that, and that's what kind of led into acting, to be
really.
honest. Yeah. I auditioned for a manager locally
Hmm.
that my sister had been represented by back when she was like a child model. So it was like 20 years back.
Right.
Um, she was doing like those, like those Sears catalogs, those JCPenney
Oh yeah,
catalogs
yeah,
and
for
stuff.
sure.
Yeah, so she was doing those, and my mom was like, "You should audition for this lady." And I was like, "Okay." So I came there with bars,
Right.
beats, my phone. I'm like, "All right, I'm ready. Let's do it."
Yeah.
And she pulled out a script. After I did that, she pulled out a script like, "You should read this." And I'm like,
Okay.
"What are you talking about?" And yeah, eventually, that led to auditions once I got with her. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with it. And I realized, okay, this is part of what I always wanted to do, you know, even
Right.
if it's not just strictly music or rap, or even if it's not that at all, like this is another way of doing that. So
Yeah, yeah. Like for me, I've gotten into comedy a little bit since
yeah,
you know, since those days.
yeah,
And it's a similar thing, right? Like I like getting on stage. I love like that craft and what it
yeah,
takes to make that, but also stuff like this, like these podcasts I do
exactly.
production on shows and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
know what you mean. Like you still have that skill set, but it
Hmm.
translates in other parts of your life.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not nearly to the level you have, but like I've done like again some light acting and like it's something about that, man. It's really addictive. Like
It is.
really.
It is, man, because I really feel like, and I realized this like in the first 2 years of doing this, is that I realized acting was making me a better person
Hmm.
because I had to learn like a lot of acting training. We can get into that
Sure.
in a bit, like the specifics of it. But a lot of acting training is about like undoing a lot of what you think you're supposed to do. It's a lot of untaming.
Right.
So I had to realize, okay, what about me needed to be untamed? You know?
Right. Right. Because in,
Right.
in a way, it's like self-reflective. You have to tap into like these different emotions. You have to be
Yeah.
vulnerable. You have
Yeah.
to, take like the pride in a lot of ways and just say, all right, I'm turning that off
Hmm.
and I'm this character um in this moment. And like
Exactly.
as a person that tries to do like stage stuff, like
Yeah.
that's kind of part of it. Like I'm tapping into how someone's perceiving me and
Hmm.
trying to figure out like, all right, can I use that to my advantage on stage? And
Hmm.
what about me is gonna make this audience laugh? But like we
Right.
gotta tap into way more emotions than just humor.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's not easy. It isn't easy. It takes, and there's no formula to it, you know? There's no
Right.
formula to it. And that's one thing that I've learned over the past year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And even like you said, I know we're gonna get into like specific acting and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
just for background for people listening, like me and you, we grew up in like Maryland, DC, the DMV
Yeah.
area, like PG County.
Hmm.
Um, and we have like weirdly long history. Like I was talking to my dad and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have Ty on for a podcast. He was like, yo, his father used to live on base with us. You guys would come over.
Yep.
My dad apparently cut our hair at some point, like
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. I remember all of that.
it's crazy how small the world is, man.
I know, right? And it leads you right back to the same people. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? Like, especially if you're doing things that are similar. I think you and I, we kind of have similar paths
Right.
in a lot of ways, even if they're in different lanes. So yeah, of course. It's not even surprising. I think I told my mom the other day, I was like, oh, you know what? You know who hit me on Instagram?
Yeah.
She was like, oh, I was like, Reggie Park, you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool little moment.
Yeah, man. I remember because I just gotten out of some show, like some like
Mm,
Zoom thing. And like I
mm.
I can tell you this, I don't really like Zoom comedy, but there was there were some people in the audience, so I was like, okay, did that. Then I like saw like a link of you in Mr. Meats, I think.
Hmm.
Uh, sorry, I'm blanking on his name a little bit, but I was like, yo, look at
Yeah.
him making moves. I was like, I gotta hit you up. I gotta see what's going
Yeah.
on over here.
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the fact that you notice, because I'm not like someone who posts a lot, or anything like that. So, yeah, man, a lot of things have led up to this point.
Yeah,
So, like when you say something like that, like, like, oh, he's doing stuff, that's great because that means the 5 years I spent
right,
when before anyone knew what was going on was worth it for this moment. You know what I'm saying?
right. I
Yeah, yeah.
like I said, I've known you a long time. I know we haven't talked a lot lately because just life, you know how it
Yeah,
goes.
of course.
But I first of all, I already knew you had talent because I remember um when you were still are obviously, but like when you were rapping, I saw the work that you were putting in to it, and I
Yeah,
was like, okay, yo, this guy is like serious, right? And
yeah.
then it's just obvious to me, like when you say the 5 years, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I've been doing comedy since like 2012. And someone's like, oh, like check out that bit. I'm like, dude, I've been trying to figure that out for like you said, like 4 years now. I don't know. It's getting there, but it takes time, man.
Yeah, it definitely takes time. And like everyone has a different timeline, you
Mhm.
know. I've had people that I'm like really cool with in class with, and they're in movies that are huge.
Right.
One of my homegirls is in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Nice.
She has a speaking part in that movie. You know
That's
what I'm
awesome.
saying? She's one of the like Black Panthers at the end that gets spoiler alert. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, the scene
yeah,
where they come through on it.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
where the boys come through, like she's one of the people that suffers. So, and I got a bunch of people on all of these different
yeah,
shows, and kind of had to watch them do what they do and watch them come up, while I kind of was taking the back seat to that. But now's when it's time for something good to happen. So just enjoying the moment while it lasts.
yeah. And look, I mean, like you said, if you're putting in the work, there'll be more moments like that. You know, they don't
Yeah.
like if again that industry even I would say even more so than comedy because like there
Mm.
really is not a set like you mentioned pathway for acting like
No.
that road can go so many different directions, man.
Oh, it really can. It
Right.
really can. And a lot of my friends, they do say like, and well, first of all, when I first signed with my manager, the one I was
Mhm.
talking about before, the one thing I said is that I don't know if I'm gonna be the most successful actor on her roster. I can't control that.
Right.
I don't know if I'm gonna be the best. I don't know any of this stuff, but I know that I can be the hardest working. That's the one thing I can control.
Right.
So I'm just gonna do that. So over
Yeah.
the years, yeah, those 5 years were full of like, okay, I can't do this no more, can't drink no more, can't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things I can't do because actors can't get sick before a show, or,
Right.
I got to be able to show up and give my full self. Or if I got these intense bags under my eyes for this audition, that may age me by a few years, you know what I'm saying? And take me out of the running for something.
Right. It's just
Yeah,
all these factors because
yeah,
like you're saying even with the talent, it's like it's
hmm,
the day you show up. It's
exactly.
like you could be a killer in like the classes, you can be a killer like all the time, but when it's time to go, that's
Oh,
it.
it's
And
different. It's different. I find myself when it's time to go, I find myself like regretting the moments, like regretting having to do it. Like, why am I about to do this? I wish this would go, I wish the lights would cut off or something. That frequently happens for theater. I get stage fright, but I go out there and no one can ever tell,
yeah,
which
I
is the
think
fun part.
that's part of learning to control it. Like
Yeah.
for me, and again, it's completely different when someone's like, "Oh, you get stage fright with comedy." The answer right now is no, but it depends on the situation, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you get so many reps, like experiences I've done before, it's nothing. It's like, all right, this is a crowd. They're just like this other crowd. Like stuff I've never done before. Like the first time I hit a theater, the first time I did like a certain
Mhm.
club, it's like, yeah, it comes back. It
Yeah,
comes back, man.
definitely. And I was, I look to a lot of, you know, bigger name actors and stuff like that for
Mm.
like inspiration. So I watched their interviews, and I was just watching one with Nicole Kidman, and she was talking about how she gets like she just did a play either last year or the year before, and before she went on, she threw up
Yeah,
because she was so nervous. I'm like, this lady's in her 50s, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
has been a superstar for the past 20 years and still gets that same feeling in a new venue.
yeah.
So it's kind of like, will it ever go away? No, I
No, the
guess.
answer is no.
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
the funny thing about this, like again, because these are both arts that we're talking about,
Yeah.
the building blocks are kind of the same in the sense of like what you do at the beginning is the
Hmm.
same stuff you're doing at the highest level, but just
Yeah.
more, right? So
Right.
like
Right.
it makes sense that like that doesn't like how could it go away? Like you're
How
constantly
could you?
trying to push yourself.
Right. 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 And I just tell myself, like, you know what? These nerves are just my body's way of telling me that this, what I'm about to do, is important to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Normally, when you do very important things, you get nervous. It don't matter what it is,
Right.
birth of a child, anything, about to
Sure.
propose, about to do this, about to do that. It all makes you nervous.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
something you can tap into, like
yeah,
fear
absolutely.
isn't always bad.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
definitely, definitely, definitely.
that's cool. Yeah. I was trying to remember this kid's name, but I remember this guy I went to college with, like a
Uh-huh.
college wrestler. He's got like a small speaking role in the movie American Gangster. And it's just like you
Nice.
watch these people like that when you see them, and then you see them in the movie or on the show, and you're like, God damn, look at this! Like it's like it's
Yeah.
paying off, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still getting used to that. I'm still getting used to other people seeing me and stuff. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Because it's different. It's different when you're the one in it, you
right.
know? It looks different to you. So, yeah. Oh, my
It's just
God.
funny, like because
Hmm.
I watched the movie just again for the audience, like you're in a film that came out this year called Secret Society,
Yo.
and it's on Amazon Prime. I went
Hmm.
out, I rented it. I was like, all right, let me check them out. And I'm like sitting there the whole time, like, yo, man, Tyler's about to be on on screen, and just watching you work, I was like, yeah, I mean, brother's acting right now, man. Like,
Yeah.
your role is not uh insubstantial either. It's a pretty consequential role in the film.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man, this guy came through, man. So
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I just that the whole filming, the whole process of getting that
yeah.
movie, it's honestly about 2 years in the making
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
even get to that. So once again, I really, really appreciate that because there was so much that had to happen behind the scenes in
Sure,
order,
sure.
you
And
know.
and I'm
Mhm.
sure the COVID stuff did not help.
Oh, no, it did not. No, it did not. And I guess I could say it. I'm a type 1 diabetic too.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
So like it's the inherent one. There's nothing I could do about it.
hmm,
So, being a high risk person on top
yeah,
of all of that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
It was a lot to think about. Like, am I prepared to do this? Am I prepared to fly out? And you know, I had to ask some questions, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Like, what are the protocols? Do we have this in writing? Like, I had to make
Hmm.
sure everything was straight. But I'm glad we got to make it happen. Definitely.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's a different time now, like theaters and stuff out of the mix a little bit. But like
Mhm.
I don't know, in the time of like the streaming service, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad place to land, man. Amazon Prime is like a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah,
That's big league stuff, man. And
yeah. And I never realized how big league it would be until the movie released. Until
yeah,
it came out about a couple weeks ago. I had no idea it would be this much. Honestly, when we went to the premiere in Atlanta,
yeah.
we went to the premiere.
Did you guys film in Georgia, by the way? Because I know they film a lot out there.
We filmed in Miami.
Okay, nice.
The
Yeah,
whole film was shot in
yeah,
Miami.
it looked like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Even though it technically is supposed to take place in
What, ATL?
Atlanta
Yeah.
and like LA, I guess when they're with the guy with the guy, I'm not trying to get too
No,
much
no,
into the plot,
I
but
hear.
Derek and them, yeah, yeah, yeah. When they're over there with them, I guess well, maybe they're not. I think they were in Mexico. I think they're in Mexico.
There is a scene because, like, bro, like I said, I watched the movie, so I
Yeah,
I got 30 minutes in, and we're not going to talk about it, but there's a significant twist,
Oh
and
yeah.
I immediately was like, where the hell do they go from here? Because this is already like, this would be the climax right here, man.
Yeah.
And just like the way they shot it, like again, I'm on the IMDb right now, so the director was Jamal Hill. I
Yes.
I had to do some research on the writer, Miasha. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, you are. Yep.
yeah, Miasha Coleman and
Hmm.
Jamal helped co-write it. But like, I had to look at Miasha stuff. I'm like, yo, wait a minute, she's writing stuff like this.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And they and her and her husband Rich, they executive produced the movie.
Mhm.
They're first time filmmakers. They are first time
Let
filmmakers.
me tell you something. I
Hmm.
watch a lot of film. I've worked with people that have done acting and stuff like that.
Hmm.
The production on this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
It like phenomenally shot. Like
Yeah.
I was watching it and like the opening sequence kind of reminded me a little bit of like the visuals on that movie Promising Young Woman, right? Like just like yo,
Mm.
like it was just really slickly shot,
Mhm.
well lit, and like you can tell when there's money in the production, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or even worse, you can tell when there's not. That's usually when you can tell.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, I got a few projects out there that yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
You could see the contrast, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that's one thing that I really appreciated about Miyasha and Rich specifically is the fact that they hired the right people.
yeah,
Like they were not going to let this be like, oh, we could have did more. You know,
hmm,
they didn't want to have that regret. So even when I was on set, even when I was looking around, and even when I was doing my research online, the fact that they hired Jamal, the
hmm,
fact that they brought in the people that they brought in, as far as the
yep,
celebrity talent goes, like it shows that they really, this is a story that they felt they needed to tell, and they put their money where their mouth was, and yeah, that's why the film is doing what it's doing
yeah, yeah.
because it's doing numbers.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of celebrity stuff, I don't think it's a spoiler because it's on IMDb. Like I saw like
Yeah.
Vivica Fox, and I was like, "All right, we came to play. We
Yeah.
came to play." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, Vivica, from what I understand, Vivica did the play version
Okay.
of the film.
Yeah.
So Miyasha and Rich, they also they did a play. They had a run in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And Vivica was in that stage play. I think she played the same character that she played in the film.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they had a relationship with her. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that also helps to keep the production nice and smooth. You know.
Totally. Totally.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it's good to hear the numbers are doing well. It again makes sense to me. Uh, I watched it and I was like, okay, like the
Yeah.
story was crisp. It was definitely I was not expecting the
Right.
twist. And then I think from there, like the movie just kind of progressed in a way where you've got the two characters, what Celeste and Tina played by Raina Love and Erica Pinkett.
Yeah.
And I mean just like their chemistry was on point.
Mhm.
They had these characters that really towards the beginning of the film could have been sort of not like villains, but they weren't necessarily likable
Mhm.
characters on the front end. By the end, they got
Mhm.
humanized in a way that was like, wow, like you really cared about how it, worked out for them. And
Absolutely.
that's hard to pull
It's
off.
it's very hard to pull off. It's very, very hard to pull off. And their chemistry that you saw in the film was reflected in real life. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like I genuinely believe from, interacting with them and being on set with them that, because I'll just say I was in like the back for a lot of the scenes that
sure.
I'm not even in. Michael ain't even showed up yet.
Yeah,
But you're waiting, especially if it's in the same location.
sure.
You shoot everything, that you can in that location.
Hmm.
So, like that the very opening sequence, like the opening
Right, right,
that you
right.
see it's in the trailer with the gun on, like I'm literally standing in the back, like watching, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Trying to but just being around them, they really were sisters.
yeah,
That like they really are sisters at this point. So that just makes it so much easier. And I think that's what made the production easier is that the fact that it really felt like a family, a
right,
real ecosystem. It felt like its own little zip code,
right, right.
that Miyasha and Rich created for us to operate and play in.
Yeah, I think like again, from my limited experience, that's huge. I mean, the people you work with matters. Like it
Yeah.
matters a lot. And like if someone's bringing too much ego into it,
Hmm.
someone's bringing the wrong energy, like now you're all like you're already working, right? It's a job. Like,
Yeah.
people that don't know, like acting is a serious job. But like,
Yeah.
when you're working with good people, it helps to kind of, like you said, that word play rings out to me because I'm like, yeah, when you're working with people that are on point, you're playing, you're having fun, you're in your element.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's that like that whole the whole intimidation factor by, okay, I'm working with Jamal. This
mhm.
this film has this certain type of budget. I'm in Miami. They got some celebrity talent. Like all of that was dispelled within like the first 10 minutes of me arriving to
Yep.
set. Like I was, I was definitely like I was just brought in and accepted so well by everyone across the board.
Right.
Even like when I first got to the green room and they was like, all right, yeah, you need to shape up and you need some things. You need some things. They they had me waiting for the barber chair, and Jeremy Meeks walks in.
Hmm.
Or whatever. He walks in, and I had known that he was going to be there because they sent out the call sheet the night before,
Sure.
and I was like, I recognize that name, so I looked him up. I'm like, oh, this dude's in
Yeah.
it. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So then he walks in, and it doesn't take but like 20 seconds before he comes up. He's like, hey, my name's Jeremy. He introduces himself to me.
Yeah.
Da, da, nice to meet you. And before you know it, we're chatting like we've been friends our whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Uh,
know,
in the Instagram post you had,
he,
what really stood out to me was Jeremy's energy and his vibe. He was like, "Yo, I'm here with my brother Ty," and I'm just like, "Yo, man, that he seems like a really nice guy." And
he's super nice. Just one quick story with him is
sure.
that, well, two quick stories with him. But beyond that opening meeting, which was great, also the next day, my second day on set, he's doing whatever scene he's doing, and they're switching the angle, they're switching the lighting and all of this stuff. He sits me down, is like, hey bro, like you do like Jamal tells me you do like theater and all of that type of stuff. I'm like, yeah. He's like what's that like tell me tell me what that is. I want
Mhm.
to. I'm like, well, like it depends on what you mean, because I've done Shakespeare, I've done Greek, I've done all of this stuff. And he was like, well, I want to do all of that.
Right. Right.
Because he had his own, like he's trying to discover himself more as an artist as well. So that talk, I was like, okay, like this dude could really just ride on the platform he's already built,
Right.
but instead he's kind of going backwards to go forwards, which is
Right.
my philosophy.
Hmm.
And then when me and Celeste are doing one of our scenes, he was in the background, or he was like in the back watching on the monitors, and he took his phone and was recording us on the monitor.
Hmm.
And then he, between the takes, once they yelled cut, he would run out to us really quick and show us what we look like to
Okay.
see if we could adjust our performance. He did that voluntarily.
Right. Right.
I'm
That's
like, dude, you arguably the biggest name in the film, or second biggest name
yeah,
in the film. Top three billing for
for
sure.
sure. For sure.
And he's going out of his way to do this after he had rapped. He was
Right.
already done. He could have went home.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that was the kind of energy that was on set from everybody.
That's
You
awesome, man.
know?
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's interesting to hear you talk about that because, like, Jeremy, he had kind of his original claim to fame was like kind of being like the hot felon, right? So,
yeah.
like, you know, coming out of that kind of rough patch to go viral off of just the strength of, his personality and appearance and stuff like that. It's
Hmm.
good to hear a guy like that is like evolving, expanding. Like, you could easily
Yeah,
just happens all the time. You go viral, you go out there, sell a couple tickets or
yeah,
something, and you ride it out. Like,
right.
I think he's going to have that staying power if that's the type of move he's making, right? Like,
Yeah,
because,
absolutely. And
because,
he's really like the bond I formed with him while I was down there was really profound for me, you
mhm.
know. It was really, we had some really, really like deep and like tender moments that we need, even though our characters never meet.
Right, right,
We don't meet, but it was like we really had some like really profound moments. And like I realized that, okay, part of the reason that he is where he is and is
Hmm.
doing what he's doing is not because of the outside. That's what
Sure.
everyone attributes it to, but it's
Hmm.
who he is as a person on the inside.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's just such a kind soul. He's the life of the party.
Yep.
Even at our premiere, like there was many times you'd be looking around and you would just find him like doing the robot in the
Yeah.
corner. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
just like that's the type of guy he is. He's super super cool, man.
And,
So I definitely we talked afterwards and I was like, yeah, we talked on the phone and I was like, hey man, like I kind of see you as a brother, man. Like
hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, like in our brief amount of time, and he's like, I see you as one too,
Yeah. It's
and
good,
that's
man.
just that's once again that's a testament to the vibe of the set.
Yeah.
Ah,
Totally. Totally.
whew,
Yeah. Nah. It's
thinking about it,
powerful, man.
man.
It's powerful.
Yeah, thinking about it. Yeah,
I mean, just again watching the movie and seeing his role, which it's not like the biggest role, but it's not a small role either, right? And like
yeah,
he's, I mean, he's still screen time, man. Like you're just watching this guy get in there and like, in a lot of ways, he's a lot of the glue for some of these major moments in the film,
of
and like
course.
he just looks so natural in the role,
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
a way
yeah,
that was like, sometimes you see someone that has to play kind of like his character's a little rough around the edges, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah,
someone
yeah.
do that and like it doesn't translate well or something like that. Like
Right.
he's believable. Uh and just I don't know, man. He stole the show in some of the scenes I saw him in, man. That,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was cool.
yeah. Man, I'm sure he'd be glad to hear
Yeah.
that.
And I mean, kind of getting into your role, because like your character Michael in the film
Hmm.
is kind of like in a movie that has a lot of like over the top type characters, like people that
Hmm.
may be drug dealing, people that are like millionaires, flying out to, like you said, Mexico and stuff like that. Your guy, like he's got stuff going on, but he's more like a normal guy, just kind of like an everyman in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And your character brings like this how you put it, almost like this heart and empathy into the situation that before Michael gets there, your character's name. It's
right,
just
right.
kind of like, all right, yo, it's just like hot girl summer out here, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. But
Yeah.
like once you come into the movie, like tonally things change and like your character brings in this
Hmm.
this like you start to ground things in a way that I thought was impressive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really, really appreciate that. And, off of reading the script, I knew that, okay, this is the character that's going to kind of, ground things in this specific way. He's going to add that heart, that empathy to it. And just off of reading the script, I became emotional. That's how
Yeah.
I knew. Because when the first time you read a script, you're like an audience member. You're not
Hmm.
even like, you're not an actor. You just want to enjoy it. And then the second, third time, it's like, okay, now I'm downloading information. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
I'm doing all of that. So, that a lot of this, well, playing this role really taught me like that. You have a character to do this specific thing, and you hire that actor to do that specific thing.
Hmm.
As far as like this person grounds the film, this person elevates it, this
Right.
person pushes the story forward, like you alluded with Jeremy's kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people have their certain thing. It's like, okay, now I get what I was hired to do. That taught me so much about what I give as an artist, but
Right.
then, also filmmaking as a whole.
Yeah.
Gotta write characters like that. And,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, I love scripts. Like obviously I'm doing a podcast now, but I listen to a lot
yeah.
of podcasts. There was one back in the day. They stopped doing it, but it was called like the Blacklist Table Reads. And these
Mm,
scripts, they're out in Hollywood that never got made. And they would hire
mm.
actors to come on and, without the visuals, but they would read these scripts and like bring them to life in a way that like you mentioned before, pretty profound. And I know what you mean. Like when you see a good script, when you hear kind of like a good script, like it's gonna come alive. You
Yeah,
get the right people to play it. Some
exactly.
people are like they say, born to play a role, and I think that the way you approached it, really like again the words that keep kind of coming to my head is like that humanizing factor. Again,
Yeah,
taking these two characters that are like all over the map in the movie, and
yeah,
then you come in and it's like, oh, it's kind of like little suburban life, little normalcy. you
yeah.
know?
Little bit of peace.
Yeah,
God forbid,
yes, yes.
And at the premiere, I talked to Miyasha. Um, I talked to her. I think it was at the end of the of the whole event. I
Mhm.
talked to her, and she told me, that you played the best Michael I could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah. Hey,
That's all I need to
that's
know.
all you need to know, man. Exactly.
That's all I need
Exactly.
to know. Like that. Just yeah, I did my job.
That's it. Yeah. And,
You know,
in the industry where like you do your job, you might be
yeah.
doing more jobs. You know?
That's the point. Hopefully, this movie makes enough to where that becomes a reality. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Like I said, I hope the numbers are hidden. I know it's a strange time to be in that
Hmm.
space. It's a strange time in terms of like how you can measure how things are doing because like the
Yeah,
traditional indicators aren't quite there.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, but I mean, from the marketing campaign I saw, from the way it's
Hmm.
presented, and even just like once you're in the film itself, that first kind of like 5 to 10 minutes, the
Hmm.
hook is there to the point I was saying before that at the 30-minute mark, I was like, wait a minute, where the hell can we go next? Right. And to have like more run, like an hour plus more runtime, I'm like, okay, yeah, I was in for the ride.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And that's
hopefully,
good.
hopefully it's doing well because I think the performance that all of you got out of it, I think is something that a lot of people should see.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely appreciate that. From what I saw from the numbers, it's in the top 10 on Amazon right now.
Hey,
So,
yeah, you up there with
you
coming
know,
to America right
yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know the executive producer Rich,
Mhm.
Miyasha's husband or whatever. He posted 2 or 3 days ago, tagged us in it. That's why I saw it. He
Mhm.
posted a few days ago that it had at least 5 million streams by the
Hey,
time he posted it. So,
I, I can, without knowing much,
mm,
I bet they're very happy with five
yeah,
million streams on this project. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
that's now. You're not even what are you a month in?
not even 2 weeks in, not even 2 weeks yet.
Yeah. So
13
hey,
days. Yeah,
so if you're watching this, go watch Secret Society on
go watch.
Amazon Prime.
Yes, go
It's
watch it. Go watch it.
it's worth a watch, man. It really is.
Yeah,
So
it definitely is. And you know what? Like watching films with yourself in them is like the most stress-inducing thing that you
oh,
can
for
ever
sure.
do. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you're aware. Like watching your own self perform could be just like I
It's
mean,
my
I don't
least
know.
favorite thing.
It's your favorite thing?
No, it's my least favorite.
Oh, Bailey's favorite thing.
It's
Yes.
like, but you gotta kind of watch yourself though, because you need to know where you can tweak things. But like,
Yeah.
like especially in comedy, it's like, oh, my voice is like the way I look. Like, why am I standing like that? It just and you can't
Yeah.
get it back.
Yeah. You can't get it back.
No, you
And
did it.
yeah, and when I was at that Atlanta premiere, like it was, I was like cool, but at the same time, like under all of that, I was like, I had a cold sweat because
Yeah,
I'm like, we gonna have my big head on this big old wall,
yeah,
with
yeah,
these
yeah.
projectors
Right.
on three different walls. The movie was projected on two walls on the side, and then the big one in the middle.
Yeah.
They had it
Uh,
all. Miyasha and I'm telling you, they had it all set up.
yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this about to be in like,
Mhm.
like, what did I do? And then after the first 5 to 10 minutes, like you said, I kind of leaned up and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we all right. We
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
okay, y'all. We
Uh,
did good. And I was like intrigued. I was sucked back into the story, like, dang, do I even remember what happens? Like, because this is like my heart's racing and all type of stuff during specific scenes or
right.
whatever. So yeah, that's always a great feeling. By the time it got to me, I got scared all over again. But
Yeah.
it didn't take but like 10 seconds. Where I'm like, all right,
Yep.
boom, we good,
Yep.
we good. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And like in that setting, was there like because again with COVID and everything, was there like a audience? Like was it or like how large was because you
Oh
got these people watching it for the first time and you're like, how are they gonna react? Like
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, it's a nice little crowd in that venue. People
Mhm.
had masks on and all of that type of stuff.
Sure.
Definitely a few hundred people in there.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean,
and people were rowdy. It was like one of those, like what you would imagine an old, almost like a comedy show. To be
yeah,
honest, like
yeah,
people are yelling out what they yell out and all of this different type
yeah.
of stuff. And especially there's a scene where me and or Michael, Celeste, and some other people they're out eating or
Mhm.
whatever,
Yeah, yeah, I know that
and
scene.
they're having that conversation. I mean, people were laughing so hard. I couldn't even hear what we were saying at
Yeah,
certain points, especially during that
yeah,
awkward moment,
that seems awkward. Like, I'm like, oh boy. They say with like film and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they whoever they are, that once it's out, it's like it's no longer yours, right? Like it
Yeah.
becomes the audience's. Like
Mhm.
people make it what they make it. Like you look at something like Rocky Horror and like what
Mhm.
people have done with that film and how it's
Yeah.
you know ingrained in the culture now. Like
Right.
it's just like comedy. It's like you did it, but like it's not done until they see it.
Right. Right. Right.
That's that's when it
Uh,
becomes real, man.
exactly. It's definitely like, and I could feel for the producers when it was
Hmm.
time to release it, because it's like, man, this is like presenting your baby. Like,
Yeah,
from my perspective, it's like, oh yeah, it's back when I was really heavy in music. It's like presenting my new song
yeah,
or dropping a tape. It's like, here's my baby. And
yeah.
then, as you said, like, it's up to the world what that baby is capable of. You
Right,
know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, is it
Exactly.
gonna great, or are we gonna
Yeah,
are we gonna kill it?
yeah.
I hate to be
Mhm.
morbid, but
No,
is
no,
that,
seriously.
yeah, is that
Yeah,
what we're gonna do? And I'm glad that it's been uplifted as much as it
good,
has.
good. And then from the producer standpoint too, like you also got you got to check your pockets too, because like that's a big investment, man.
There's a lot at stake, man. A
Yeah,
lot at stake.
that's the business side of it, man. Like
Woo.
because that and it's every project you do. Like
Yeah,
you can knock one out, but like once you do one good one, they're like, okay, can you do that again? Can you do that
exactly.
again?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of for some reason I haven't been following it as much in 2020.
Hmm.
It would make sense, but normally I follow the box office a lot.
Yeah.
I like to see what's resonating with people.
Hmm. Hmm.
What projects are going to get green lighted in the future.
Yeah.
I can keep that, and then I keep that up with my reps, and I
Yeah. Yeah.
tell them, hey man, like they DC, they got this new, this Flash movie coming out. You know what I'm saying? I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
or something like that.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
um, yeah, I pay attention to that a lot. So definitely, as someone who like, I think I'm probably more familiar with what the numbers mean than most
Right.
people,
Right.
just because I'm a nerd for them. I'm not special or anything, but
Hmm.
um, I felt their pain,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
anxiety even more,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Like it's
it
a
seems to have taken on like a life of its own. I was looking up the Twitter hashtag for
yeah.
Secret Society,
Yeah.
and people, I mean, big
Something
long, all these people talking about it. I'm like,
Yeah, I
okay,
I would say if you haven't seen the flick, avoid that hashtag until you watch it because
please do.
you're gonna get
Avoid
some
it.
spoilers. You're gonna get some
Avoid it.
spoilers.
Yeah, because it has a good story and it's
Yeah.
worth being surprised by.
Oh, totally, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why even us talking like I refuse to ruin this for anybody else. Just
yeah,
go experience that yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I know what you mean, man. Like I said, I'm a bit of a nerd for this stuff too. Like I
Mm,
told you, I listen to podcasts of scripts, so like, yeah, I look at those numbers and I'm like, oof, hope you
yeah.
do all right overseas. That's a rough one. Rough week. But
Yeah,
it's just,
definitely.
I know you
I can,
brought up DC. I
mhm,
recently did another podcast where, we talk about movies and
mhm.
we watched the Snyderverse cut and it's just like what
Oh,
it took for that to even exist. Like, there's no reason that should be a thing that human beings can watch. Like,
right,
like
right.
all that Hollywood gravity you have to overcome. To,
I'm glad that got made, man.
man, me
Like,
too.
regardless of how anyone feels about the film, I haven't seen all of it yet. I know it's
4
4 hours.
hours.
Yeah. But I've seen like the first half hour. I was like, yo, this is so different.
Yeah.
And I could tell like this was Zach's intention.
Right.
He always wanted to do this. I'm just glad. I think that sets quite the precedent.
Yeah. I think so. I think so.
Yeah,
Because
for films
and,
moving forward.
and I feel like this is one of those things that could really only happen in the streaming environment, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh,
don't know how you get that back in the theaters, but
yeah.
just like you said, his vision, like watching it, because you know, still with the Snyder Cut is like they weren't really gonna let you get 4 hours. this either. like, so you got the director's cut plus on this one. But
Yeah, right,
no, you're
right.
right, man. Just kind of seeing what his vision was and kind of like it matching tonally with some of the
Yeah,
other stuff we've seen and like where it could have gone. It's a very interesting experience and experiment, and I'm glad that we got to
yeah.
see it.
Especially in contrast to the original
Yeah, yeah,
2017 cut.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
had to
whoa.
rewatch that too.
I'd already seen that like 3, 4 times, so
Yeah.
I'm very familiar. And another thing is like, to your point about this only being possible during the time of streaming. Um, Typically, movies that are over 3 hours long don't get these like huge I mean, they can, like Lord
Right.
of the Rings. There's
Sure.
certain movie. I think Lord of the Rings and maybe Titanic were like the last two movies over 3 hours
Right.
to get released in the theater. And from what I understood, Batman v Superman was also a 3 hour plus movie. I think the Ultimate Edition is like three and a half or something
Sure.
like that.
Sure.
Same thing for Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street is a 4 hour film
Yes.
that they condense for the theater, but it becomes much less viable
Mhm.
financially
Oh yeah.
because they got to cut down. They might be able to show it 5 times, but the second or in a specific theater, but once you hit the 3 hour mark, all of a sudden it's only 3 times.
Right.
It's like a theater policy
Yeah.
that's written into it. So the streaming just blows all of that out. Who cares?
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
you know,
So
it's not about like how many people you can get in a physical location. It's about
yeah,
how many people are subscribed, how much interest you can drum up, marketing and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it goes back to like again to people like ourselves that are into like different arts.
hmm
There is the craft and there's the business,
yeah,
and especially when it comes to acting, like the business, there's a lot of control over how things shape up and how we experience film.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Absolutely. And you gotta like one thing that I'm learning to do is to just try to stay grounded in the craft
Hmm.
and trust certain people to take care. I got to do my part in the business, but
Right.
you also gotta. I got a team. As I said, my representation, like
Sure.
they really, really hold me down,
Yeah.
and they are just wonderful people. So relying on them to take care of the business, and
Right.
I just really just fully focus on boom, especially when. Not to toot my own horn, but I see myself performing at a higher level than I did when I first started,
Right. Right. No, of
or
course.
even a year ago. Like I see myself, based on the things I'm auditioning for that I
Sure.
wish I could talk about, that,
Yeah. No.
all of those things, like it's like, if you just stay with the craft and you got people around you that you can trust, hopefully the business will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean, man. Because like
hmm
I've hit like this stride, I think, in my own sort of craft, and it's like
Yeah.
I could do the business, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
a stage, 20 minutes, I don't care where it is, I got that. Like,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Now, there's other levels to it, like there's like the headlining level, which
hmm
I would say, because you always gotta be self-reflective. I'm not there, right? And that's
hmm
okay because that's a like whole nother level,
hmm
right? Like at the level I'm at, it's like, yeah, feature work, host work, and stuff like that. You can do that,
hmm
but you gotta imagine, or like you said, you gotta get to the point where you're like, okay, this is better than I could have done this 2 years ago. This is
hmm
better than hell, even like a couple months ago. And if you're trending in that direction, and you feel like you're still going there, and like we
hmm
schedule this around your acting classes, for instance, like
hmm
that again, just because you got a project or something, you gotta keep going.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you got to keep going. A lot of times, like you just said, and I just had the thought like, and this is one thing I had to tell myself is that it's not a 1-to-1 when it comes to the craft and the business. Like,
Mhm.
it's sometimes your craft is going to be way above
Oh
where
yeah.
your business level is, in
Oh
terms of
yeah.
your success because the opportunity hasn't come yet.
Hmm.
So it takes a while for the business to catch up to your craft
Right.
sometimes. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And that could be frustrating, get like, oh,
Oh
I could have did that,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you just wait for the right opportunity and just stay consistent,
Yeah.
and
In general, like as much as like that problem presents itself, I think for a lot of people in
yeah,
these types of spaces, the reality is that you would rather the business have to catch up to your craft and vice versa.
Yeah.
You don't want the business to outstrip your ability to perform.
Yeah. Woo. That yeah. Mm.
That can happen, and I think that everything, you know, you have to put in the work in all aspects of it. You know, you can't just be craft, you can't just be business, but like
Absolutely.
if you do it the right way, when the opportunity comes, you're gonna be
Mm.
ready for it.
Yeah. You're gonna know what
Yeah.
to do. You're gonna
Yep.
know what to do. Even doing Secret Society, let's go back to that for a second. There were certain things that I had to do on set that I had already known how to, or I'd already learned how to do,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
those are things that some of my acting friends around here, like they would say, you know, oh, I don't know how to do that, or I would figure it out when I got the job. No,
Yeah. No. No. No.
already took care of this, already took care of that. If I need to crown Q, I could do it. If I need to do this, I could do it. If I need
Yep.
to do that, I can do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's to your point. When the opportunity's there, do it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Because they don't. I mean, you're lucky to get one.
Yeah. 100%.
One. Mm-hmm.
100%. And I mean, it's like the intangibles, man. The stuff that like
Yeah.
you can't miss, right? Like, hey, they gave you a script, you better fucking know that thing. You know what I mean? You got a mark, you better be fucking on that mark. You know, like
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
time is money, man. Every scene you're off, you just wasted somebody's time. You just wasted
Yeah,
somebody's money, and now you become a liability instead of an asset.
yeah, exactly. And you know, I was taking a class with a casting director. I think her name Lisa Kate. Either way, I was taking a class with a New York casting director
Mm-hmm.
um, last year, and she was talking about how a lot of New York actors they can get a script, like a 7-page scene, big heavy
Mm-hmm.
scene, and they can memorize it in about an hour, hour and a half. They can
Yeah.
have it down pat. And that just taught me like, oh, okay. So me with my little 3 pages, like I thought that was cool, but
Yeah.
there's always levels to it too,
Right. Right.
you know?
Right.
So, that's the thing. Like, okay, so they could always push forward. So, in those instances, all right, I gotta train myself
Right.
to learn those. Now I'm at the point where I could, I'm getting to that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. No, it's like I was telling you, it's like
Hmm.
you gotta be realistic, right? Like
Hmm.
I've done a lot of reps, man. But if someone came to me today, like you're trying to headline, I would have to really consider that because the
Yeah.
quality of the product, right? Like you
Hmm.
said, 3 pages ain't 7 pages, right? 20
Yeah.
minutes ain't an hour, right? You know, like
Yeah.
you keep building, you keep
Yeah.
getting the blocks in place so you can get to that point. But
Right, right, right. And that would be quite the decision for you because like that would probably be a lot of folks' first exposure
right,
to what you bring, to
right.
what you have to offer.
I,
So you
it's
gotta
it's so important, man, because
Yeah.
you know how it is. Like you see somebody once, right? And they're like, I saw that guy, he wasn't that good. You come back with fire the next time out. You could, Eddie Delirious.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, they're gonna point to that person. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. That kid's kind of shaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and the other part, like you're saying, from a business perspective, is knowing the timing, right? Like I see people like throw out a quick 30 because like I don't know, they get in their heads like I gotta film something, I gotta have tape. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Or you could like you can tighten that up for another year, maybe turn into 40,
Yeah.
but everyone's gotta make their own decisions. Everyone's gotta figure out what it is that they do. So
Yeah.
just a little insider comedy stuff, man. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta be like you're saying, I gotta be in the city heavy this year, man. I have
Oh
to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's time. I think so.
I'm the same way, brother. I'm the same exact way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even audition. I barely audition in the DMV anymore,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like it's all New York,
You gotta go
Chicago.
you gotta go where the work is, man.
Yeah, it's all New York, Chicago.
Hmm.
So that's it's what I had to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
make the play. And I know when COVID really, everyone's getting the vaccine and all this. I didn't got my first shot.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. With all of that going on, and hopefully it'll die down heavily by fall or end of
Yeah.
the year type.
Right.
Then it's gonna be go time.
Yeah.
It won't be no more excuse.
I agree. I agree. Like
Yeah.
I personally like taken the how do you put it? The philosophy that kind of take your time, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't just run out to the city and try to, get everything right away. And
Yeah.
now I think that I've let that marinate enough.
Mhm.
Looking at this COVID situation, because I got my first and last shot, I actually got J&J before they paused it.
Oh. You okay? Are you
Yeah,
okay?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
We'll see, man.
We'll see.
We'll see. But like, I'm just looking at the energy, right? Because like as a
Mhm.
comedian, like that's what I think I'm really good at. Just looking at a room and being like, this is what this room wants from me, right?
Mm.
And right now, people want to go see some stuff. They want to go to the theater. They want to
Mhm.
go to a concert. They want to see live comedy. I'm like, if you can't get it in this environment, I don't know, player.
Yeah. It might not be in the
maybe it's
cards,
not for
brother.
you. So I just hit that point personally where I'm like, it's just time. It's time to like make that push. And we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see if I'm in secret society too. You know what I mean?
Shoot, I can always make it refer, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll never know. I don't even know if that exists yet.
Yeah.
I hope it does, though.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's good to hear that you're still working on stuff. I know we gotta be a little quiet about different things, and
Yeah.
this is the nature of the game, and
Right,
it shows that you're a professional with your craft. Like you can't
Absolutely.
mess up the bag, man.
I mean, this year has just been kind of hot, in
Mhm.
terms of auditioning. But auditions are always good because most people don't get auditions.
Right.
For every role out there you see on Law and Order or whatever show you see, any show on anything, there's probably 10,000 actors who got disappointed by not getting that, either through the rep sending it in because they're not going to audition 10,000 people. They may get just say 2,000 to 3,000 submissions. From like big agencies and then more from the whoever.
Right.
And then but they're only auditioning, 100, 150 people, depending on the role. And then, that gets whittled down to the final person.
Right.
So, auditions are it's a blessing to get the audition because you've been selected, you're a part of that elite 100 out of the thousands, but even getting those, like I'm auditioning for things, I can't even believe it. Like I have to double take, like this is a life-changing situation. This could change my life forever. All of a sudden I'm gonna have my blue check and everything. When it's over,
I mean, so like depending on the project, dude, like, again, I don't know exactly what you audition for, but like you get some of them sitcom checks coming in, man. That's that's a nice one. That's a nice one.
Yeah. That's actually like a dream job of mine is sitcoms. I think that's probably where I would shine the most.
I think you've got, just from knowing you and as a person that does comedic stuff, I think you actually have good humor, from what I remember. But like also obviously seeing your role in Secret Society, I'm like, well, dude, this guy's got some range. He can do pretty much whatever he needs to. So
I appreciate that.
Hopefully, like you said, dream jobs are dream jobs, man. Like, for me, on the other side, I'm like, yo, let me get that writer's room check. Sit down, churning out the little. I got my final draft here. I'm just like, click, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of greats, man. They do that. Isn't that how? That's partially how, what's his name? Donald Glover got his foot into the industry.
My God. Donald Glover is historic with that.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about like opportunity and stuff, and like when people see you, it is like 5 years after you've been doing this, right?
Exactly.
Glover had, I'm gonna butcher the story, but like he had an opportunity that came up, and they're like, yo, we need the script. He was like, I got 3 right now. You know what I mean? Like he had something in the can. They're like, oh, this kid's serious, right?
Right.
And I can't think of another person that has just the levels that he has, man. Whether it's the music game, the acting game, the comedy game, the writing game, like that guy's just another level, man.
Right. There's only one part, but maybe not the writing. I don't know what he's written, but to me, the only person that I could think of off the top of my head that's just as ridiculous of a Swiss Army knife in the industry is Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is like
he's done it all his way. He's won the Oscar, everything, the Grammys, and comedy shows, had his own sitcom,
Yeah.
all of that type of stuff.
It's funny you bring him up because I had the exact same conversation with my friend Ariel, who I do some work with, and
Okay.
she's like, "Is there anybody better than Jamie Foxx?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not. The man can do it all, man."
Yeah, man.
But you know, you got to get to that point. I mean,
Yeah.
guys like that though, they give you the roadmap because you look at Jamie Foxx's career,
Mhm.
you look at Donald Glover's career, and like you brought up Black Judas earlier.
Mhm.
I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. The Lucas brothers, it's a comedy duo out of New York, man. Like, what is the shit? Like, what? These guys are like comedians, and they just
Yeah.
drop
Yeah.
Oscar level, drama, man. That's crazy, dude. And it's just like,
Yeah.
you know, there's many pathways, many lanes.
Yeah, so many, and I definitely realized like that one could definitely lead to another. Because now, during COVID, I'm like, all right, what do I do? I'm not auditioning for anything, but there were casting directors that were having open calls and all of that,
Mhm.
and they were saying, like send me a scene, but it has to be original. So I'm like, okay, if it has to be original, that means I have to write it, right?
Right.
Or I get a friend to write it. I might as well write it myself. And I wrote a little comedy scene for myself to perform for a casting director, and I think it turned out. I was proud of it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that was like, oh, okay, maybe I got, all of a sudden got bit by the writing bug, and I started jotting. And ever since then, I've been jotting out ideas
Yeah.
for like short films. I got a bunch of ideas
Good.
I want to do. So yeah, I think it leads into the next thing naturally.
Yeah. Because like I've got I just picked it up like a journal, just like writing prompts and stuff. Because like I've got these ideas that are up there, and like I haven't done the work to put them down. It's like, I mean, just like I was saying about going out to New York and really like testing the craft. It's like you gotta do it, bro. There's no excuse. Like
At some point.
put something down. Like yeah, it's probably not gonna be good at first.
Yeah,
Just
right.
get over it. Just like watching yourself perform. It's like, hey, it's a necessary evil to get to that next phase. And
Yeah.
I said direct, but like the Lucas brothers, they were writers on Black Judas, and it's like those guys have a similar kind of like humor and tone to like the stuff that I'm drawn to, and to see them be able to translate that into like a serious script is like, man, that's you're like, all right, what am I doing? Better, these guys are out there. You gotta keep going, man.
Yeah,
You know?
and that happens for like there's a lot of comedians who are actually very exceptional at drama.
Yeah.
Like over the years, the Jim Carreys, the Robin,
Mhm.
Eddie Murphy, what's the Adam Sandler as
Sure.
well. Yeah. There's a lot of people that like they cross over so well. So, and I've always known like, well, I've learned that the line between comedy and drama, it's like
It's thin.
so thin.
Yeah.
It's so thin.
Yeah.
So, and when I watch a lot, I've watched some specials and stuff like that. I've watched the stuff that you post. I watched a lot of comedy. I'm like, yo, this is kind of like messed up. Like,
yeah.
under a different setting, this would be kind of sad to listen to,
As a person that's kind of obviously heavy in that game, like
Yeah.
it's it kind of is a sad group of people, right? Like because like people that are finding success in life usually aren't drawn to comedy, right? And like they've got different backstories and stuff like that. Like I had a great family upbringing. We went to like 8 Mile. I went to a private school. Like
Yeah.
I was chilling, but like there's some introspection that isn't necessarily always like fun when you're doing it. You're putting yourself in this position where you're gonna get sort of judged. Like that's the whole point. You want to be judged to a certain extent. And I've met just so many different people that are they're exciting and fun when they're on stage, and just deeply depressed, anxious, and I think comedy for them is chasing that drug, that dopamine kick from being on stage, and so I could see why, like, look at someone like Jim Carrey who has like bouts of depression here and there, and it's like, yeah, man, a lot of comments are the sort of the sad clown type deal.
Right. I always use the example like Kevin Hart, the name of one of his specials is "Laugh at My Pain."
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah.
That's it.
I remember seeing that again, another game changer, right, in theaters, and the fun, I got checking, I got savings, like that stuff was funny, but like when he started talking about his father doing drugs and like
Yeah,
what that meant, and like he found the humor in it, but like as it's going on, I'm sure this is just like some of the worst moments of your life,
yeah, right,
you know?
right, right.
But like sometimes that's where the funny is, right?
It
Um,
is. It is.
and and what works for that is like how many people have that experience? Not many. So if you're able to translate that to
Yeah,
package that and like put that out there, like it's a skill set.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely, absolutely.
like
I just took a comedy class for theater.
mm,
Well,
mhm,
actually, at my conservatory that I went to, Studio Acting Conservatory in DC, the final class is comedy class.
interesting.
So you got to learn how comedy works, particularly within the theater
Sure,
setting, you know.
sure.
But it taught me about it, it gave me so much more respect for it just because I understand it more.
Hmm.
But they say that, like comedy kind of, well, more so drama, what makes something tragic is the
Hmm.
fact that we expect better of ourselves.
Right,
Actually, tragedy is supposed to inspire hope. That's
right,
what it's supposed to do,
right,
while comedy kind of takes our our trials and tribulations and flips them on or makes fun of them,
right.
or turns them up a little bit. Then all of a sudden it becomes, it's just like a kid with a jack in the box. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time it's scary, the second time it's kind of like okay, and the third time you start to chuckle a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's that same type of that energy. So yeah, coming from the background that you're coming from, like, yeah, that really resonates with me. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? As someone who's done mostly drama.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you look at something because I know you're talking about like
Uh-huh.
Shakespearean, like Grecian and stuff like that. It's like you look at something like Oedipus Rex, like that. It's actually a funny fucking story.
Really?
It's like in a roundabout way. It's like, damn, bro, that's kind of rough, right? But
Yeah.
played properly, it's tragic. But like a comedian would take that moment with like, homeboy and his moms, and you're like, that's funny in a certain sense, right?
That's
Yeah, yeah.
yo,
Can't go on like this.
that's
Although, like,
crazy.
looking back, it's like maybe you want to see some other things after that. You might want to keep your eyes, but make some new memories.
That's funny. I was just on that. I wasn't that long ago. I think it was last fall. I was on a Zoom call with and we were watching a show, and one of the performers was Oscar Isaac. You might be
He's
familiar with him.
one of my favorites, man.
Yeah. He was playing Oedipus
Yeah.
for
Wow.
this theater company. I forgot what it was. It's in New York or whatever. And that thing, the way he did it, like traumatized me.
Yeah.
Woo! But then when you bring up the fact that it is fun,
It's funny.
it's like now I'm thinking about it. I'm starting to laugh.
'Cause, like we know something he doesn't know, right? Like we as an audience, we know something that he really should know. And like, yeah, like it's messed up, right? But like
Right.
a comedian, and again, will take something like that and be like, all right, but come on, guys, like, and I try to do that a little bit in my own act.
Mhm.
I find that like my style is to kind of like point out the absurd, right? Like whether it's about me, like sometimes a lot of times I'll make myself the butt of the joke. But like it's like this shouldn't be.
Right.
Like why is this like this? And people are like, yeah, why is it like that? And that's sort of my really watered down approach to comedy. Like I don't know.
And that makes sense, man, because that's exactly how you were in high school. That's part of what made you so funny to me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So like even you getting in the like I was like, of course he should. You know what I mean? Like duh. Like I'm that's why I'm glad you got into it in 2012. You got into it early in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's other people that I thought were
there were some really funny people at that school, bro.
Really funny people.
Like
super funny people.
Like, which is why I didn't think I was funny, right? Like I knew like I could make people laugh and stuff like that, but like there were some people just so naturally hilarious and could just roast you on a dime, make a situation. And like honestly, a lot of my humor was just self-defense. I'm like, there's some killers in here. I better be able to like swing one back just in case, bro.
Right. That's the old Richard Pryor joint.
Yeah, yeah.
He had to do that. He had to make people laugh when he was locked up, right?
Yeah. Seriously. Like,
yeah.
It's funny that you say that because, like, again, trying to be able to reflect on yourself. Like, again, me talking about you, I'm like, oh man, I saw Tess. Like, Tess was out here getting it in, man. It was like, of course, this guy's in a movie, right? But I realized kind of retroactively, it was like, all right, so like I'm staying up late at night, I'm watching Comic View, right? I'm like back in the LimeWire, Kazam days, I'm like, I'm burning old Richard Pryor tapes and stuff like that. And like, it didn't translate to me. It's like, hey, you like comedy. I'm just like, this shit's funny. And like, over time, it was like, oh yeah, of course I like comedy.
yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You go back and you're like, oh, I have a old like baby video that my mom took of me. I'm literally like, I don't know. I'm super, super young. I don't even know how young I am, but I'm trying to shoot into this little plastic hoop, this little basketball hoop that's as big as I am, and I'm trying to shoot the ball, and every time I miss, I die. As a baby in a diaper, I would shoot, and then I miss, and then I was like, and then I lay down, and then I die, and then I get back up, and then I try to shoot it again. Every time or the ball would hit me in the head, and then I die again. It's like, man, I was always performing, man.
Yeah,
like,
I go back at I gotta talk to my parents about this stuff because like even them talking about us coming up and like the haircut, the diapers and stuff. I got this memory from like elementary school, middle school, something like that. It was like there's a talent show, and I was like the host. I was like, the way I remember myself, I'm like, why was I the host? right? Like, yeah. I don't recall being that outgoing because like inside of like a nervous kind of guy. Like I really didn't want the spotlight on me. Right. It was like, probably not though. Probably it seems like there's probably some kind of ego there that like got me to that point.
It is what it is. Hey, it is what it is. Like some, you go back, and that's what I was looking at another interview with a dude named Yahya Abdul Mateen.
Okay.
He played the husband of Regina King in the new Watchmen series.
Okay. Yeah.
Incredible series.
Absolutely.
Loved it. I didn't know what to expect from it. Amazing. But now he was the villain in Aquaman, or he was Black Man.
Black Man. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So he says as a kid, I just I just wanted to be the center of attention.
Right.
And he played football too, so he would just perform for his teammates. He would tell jokes, and he did a skit where he imitated the coaches, like he physically became them, imitated them, and all of that type of stuff. He said, I just love to be the center of attention. That's why I got into this. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
that's perfectly fine.
That's fine. Because like you need that guy, right? Like you're talking about football. You sit on the bus, you're about to go play crosstown rivals. They got some hitters out there, and you're like, your boy's like, now you're not even thinking about the game. You're thinking about,
exactly
having fun. So
yeah,
I think that in these times, like, what I think something that we can take away is people that are in this space, right? People need this, right? Like, you sit back in 2020, you lose your job, you got troubles, you got things going on. It's like, oh, let me watch a movie. Absolutely. And you're part of that process. You made something, right?
Yeah.
For me as a comic, like, again, there's a lot of ways to do comedy, and I purposely try to like stay away from like a lot of current event stuff and things. So like, you got enough problems. you don't want to think about that stuff right now. And
right.
I try to approach it from an angle where it's like, can I make I have a wide net philosophy, right? How can I get the most people in this space to laugh, right? I'm not gonna get everybody, but if I can get 80% of the room, you got 100% of the room, because the other 20, they have to laugh, because otherwise they're just haters. Right. Like it just takes one person getting it, and then the whole thing just goes.
Absolutely. After my comedy class, we have like a little powwow, us, the students and the instructor, and we talk about our progress and and how we can move forward and all of this stuff. But I told my teacher, Carol, I told her, Carol, thank you for reminding me that what we do is medicine. You
Mhm.
know, like comedy is medicine
Yeah.
for a lot of people. It was medicine for us, especially with 2020 being what it was
Yeah, man. Yeah.
for a lot of people, from a lot of different angles, like that's 100% right. Like people need this,
Thank you.
this is really a service to them. It's about them. It's not about us. We're
Right.
the performers,
Right.
but no.
We have what we get out of it, right?
Hmm.
But like, it's not like, again, anytime I see comments and they're like, "Oh, this crowd," I'm like, "Nah, man, it's not about you. It's
Yeah.
theirs, right?" Just like we were saying about the movie. Once it's
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
it's theirs. You're not. It's irrelevant what I think. I wrote it. I said it, but it's irrelevant what I think. It's what they think. It's like if I get the wrong type of feedback, I'm like, all right, let's go back to the lab. Let's figure out what's wrong with this.
Yeah.
Does this need to be here? Does this, move this word around? And
Right.
something
Right.
like an actor, it's like if the audience isn't getting it, then it might be something you have to work
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to tweak, and you got to be open enough to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Because and you got to accept that process is not an indictment
No.
on your ability, or what I mean, is this really for me? I understand it can be hard. It can
Yeah.
be hard.
It's,
I,
it's tough medicine.
right. I'm assuming, because I assume most comics go through this, that you probably had some more successful outings than others.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would feel like on the less successful ones. You know what I'm saying?
It's part of it because like
Yeah.
you need those. Like you need to
Mhm.
know what bombing feels like because you can avoid that fate sometimes. Sometimes it's gone. Like, something happened, bad day, like the guy before you just killed the energy in the room. Like nothing you can do about that sometimes. Like there's
Mhm.
little tips and tricks that can kind of, right the ship, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's gone. But you can recognize early on, it's like, all right, wait a minute, that's not exactly how this should be going. And you
Mhm.
can try to like write it, right? Like
Mhm.
for instance, like I have like bits and I could just, press play and like I did da, 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 I hit my mark. This is when this comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, nah, that's not the energy in the room. Like it's like
Right. Right.
somebody I'm trying to think who the comic is. It might have been a prior or something like that, but like in the room, someone dropped the glass, right? You can hear it on the album. Drop the glass,
Mm.
and he immediately like just boom goes and addresses it. It's like some things happen. You can't just the best comedy. People think you just came up with it.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
think you just.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever had this thought. Like when you do that bit. Yeah, the other day I was walking down the street and this girl. The other day that was 3 years ago.
Right.
Matter of fact, that was 3 years ago, and that wasn't even you. That was somebody else. Right?
Right.
But when it feels just like acting, when it feels real, when it feels natural, you're like,
Hmm.
okay, I'll take this ride with you. But when it feels fake, they don't want to take the
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah. And I've had to learn that lesson a lot, not like pre-plan your moments.
Hmm.
You gotta feel it. It's just like that glass dropping. Like you gotta know what you're gonna do. You
Yep.
gotta know what you have to do.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you have to be open enough to receiving new impulses, and
Yeah.
going off of that. Yeah, there's I was reading a book. There's a famous story where there's this interview being conducted on the stage, and this great acting coach named Uta Hagen. She had a poodle, and there was a certain point where the poodle stood up, and everyone's attention shifted to the poodle, and it was
Hmm.
like, why? Okay, why did that happen? And everyone knew it's because we didn't know what was going to happen
Right.
next. We don't
Right.
know that's partially why I love to watch nature and
That's
animals and
interesting.
stuff like that.
That's interesting.
You don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen next. But humans, you kind of know they're going to sit there and talk, but
Yeah.
so trying to pre-plan those moments and trying to, as you said, like it comes across as very fake,
Hmm.
and when the audience can predict it,
Yeah.
that frustrates people.
That's, yeah. That's that slow death, man. Because like I got I gotta misdirect you, right? Like
Mhm.
you everyone knows the structure of a joke. It's like knock knock, who's there, right? Like
Right, right,
you
right.
like a story, like we bring up something like Oedipus Rex. Like that story is ancient, thousands of years old, right? Like,
Mhm.
but like you do scripts today with the same framework, right?
Absolutely.
like you look at something like Star Wars, it's the hero's journey, you know, like
Hmm.
we've done this a million times, but like
Yeah.
with comedy, I think when it's successful, it's all right, you know what this is supposed to sound like, but you weren't expecting that. And
Hmm.
that's to me, that's a joke, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, here's the cadence. You know, you're thinking because the audience is trying to get there too, because like to get that feedback, they're like, all right, he said that. Where is he going with that? Maybe
Hmm.
he's going here, and then when it's somewhere else, it's like, oh shit, you know, like I didn't see that coming, and
Absolutely. Definitely.
I,
Definitely.
I kind of play like in that space where like you know we talked about the Snyderverse. I've
Mhm.
got all kinds of interests, you know, like you
Yeah.
know, like in comic books and music that people aren't expecting me to listen to.
Yeah.
And that is a tool that I can use in my tool set. Because like if I bring up like Slayer or something like that, just an example, like, hey, why is he at the Slayer concert? you know, you know, um, and you can play with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I guess we kind of had that concept in class where a teacher called on incongruities.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of why Kevin Hart will be in a movie with The Rock
Right,
or
right,
whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the incongruity of them is what makes it funny. Just like okay, we got a black guy at a Slayer concert.
right,
You know
right,
what I'm saying? And he's talking about it casually, like it's just
right,
whatever.
right. Just another day in the life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the incongruity because like someone like Kevin Hart, who his journey is fantastic. If you ever get to hear like how long it took him to get to be that guy, it you
Yeah.
know it makes you say, "Do I really want to do this?" you know,
Right.
but like he's just so good at playing against expectations because like you'll
Mhm.
be in a movie with The Rock, and now he's trying to fight The Rock in the scene. You're like, "Come on, bro, what are you doing?" you know, and, like that's where the
Right.
humor is. You know?
Yep, yep, absolutely. I also think of Drax in
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah,
He says the most insane things, but he just says them so casually,
right,
And then also him being this big, intimidating guy with like this softer tone of
right.
speaking, like it just the way Dave does that. And big shout outs to him because he's
Yeah,
from the area. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
sure.
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
but that character always, it always makes me want like, how is he so dang funny? And it wasn't until that class that I understood him and I understood Rocket.
right.
Low Rocket
Yeah,
just
Little
shot
Rocky just got that thing on him. yeah, yeah. But you
Yeah.
know, a guy like Dave who's able to like really sell this, like he's huge. He's
Yeah.
huge, but like he's able to sell this almost like this teddy bear aspect of like, you know,
Yep. Yep.
you don't think he's gonna hurt you, even though you know he can. And
Yeah.
when it's time to like go on, like you're right, when he does those monologues where he's like, I'm the, you know, bathed in the blood of my enemies, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, he's like pruning hedges or something. It's like, okay, like
Right, right, right. And there's something to be said for the fact that between him, between Drax or Rocket walking into a room right now, I'd much rather have Drax walk in.
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Rocket already know he's gonna try to run me for my money, or he's gonna kill me. But
Yeah,
Drax or your Rocket's gonna try to do something, either steal my leg, like he stole the guy's leg, or he
yeah,
was trying to get Winter Soldier's arm. You know what I'm saying?
totally.
Versus Drax, he might just, he might be weird and uncomfortable, but I don't really feel any threats from him, not
Right,
to strangers,
right.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting to think about.
No, it's funny. Like I always like talking to people in like different just different games. Like I had some guys
Mhm.
on recently who they run a concert kind of production thing out here. They call like
Yeah.
Derailment. And they have another thing called Damn Straight Entertainment. And these guys
Mhm.
like kind of like metalheads, rocker guys, and like just
Mhm.
listening to them talking about venues, talking about talent, right? Like
Mhm.
we had this one band, but then the lead singer was a dick and he canceled, and you know,
Yeah.
we couldn't put him on these other opportunities and stuff. It's just like it's
Mm.
all connected, man.
Yeah.
It's
It
all connected.
absolutely is. Oh, it absolutely is. I've experienced the same thing. I've seen actors get fired right there on the spot
Yep.
on set,
Yep.
and a lot of times they don't even know it.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, you could just stand in the background. And yeah, you'll get your turn to speak.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden the day runs out. Well, guess you got to go. And
Yeah.
the whole time the other person's already said their lines. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if they're a little more non-confrontational about it. But
Sure.
yeah, definitely see the same. Yeah, it all
Yeah.
leads into the same stuff, into that same pot.
right, right.
You know?
Professionalism translates, right?
Yep.
I'm in a field, and you're in a field too, where like the connections matter, right? Like you were talking
Woo.
about your brother Jeremy Meeks. Like,
Yeah,
you never know, man. Homie might just hit you up one day, yo, I got this project, be great on it, right?
yeah.
And if you didn't have that connection, you might not get that opportunity.
Honestly, he already has.
I that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it
Yeah,
started in the barber chair,
yeah,
and he saw you, whatever you brought to that energy, like you said, if you stayed out late, you were drinking, you had bags in your eyes, you were flubbing lines and stuff like that. He's like, I like Ty, but I can't trust him on
yeah,
this, right?
yeah. Right, right, right,
Same,
right.
same thing with comedy. It's like most of my gigs are just people that like me.
Yeah.
It's just like we
Mhm.
seen you, we know. Like one of the best compliments I ever got was sometimes I get spots that like less than ideal, right? Like,
Mhm.
this guy just bombed, or like you're the first guy up because nobody else wants to do it, right?
Mhm.
And some young, they're like, yo, man, you know you can do it. You're
Mhm.
gonna hit this, like it's like a batting lineup. It's like, yo, you're first because you're gonna hit a single. That's what you know. uh
Yeah,
Tee it up for us, right? And it's like,
right.
yeah, it's like, hey, do I necessarily like that slot? No, but like, yeah, no, look, the show has to work, right? So like, who
Yeah.
cares if I go fourth, but the first three acts couldn't get it off the ground, right? Like,
Mhm.
so hey, take what you can get. Um, I had somebody hit me up. I'm doing a show May 6th, and they were like, they hit me up a month ago, and they were like, hey, can you do it? I was like, with COVID and everything, I'm not really comfortable right now.
Mm.
Now, I got my shot. I should be good to go. And, let's go. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to ride that momentum, bro.
Yeah. You gonna go far? Because I mean, you always had it, man. You always had it. When we
Yeah.
were young. That's why I'm I was very pleased to see you had stepped into that realm when you put
Mhm.
it online and all of that type of
Yeah.
stuff. And trust me, I pay attention to everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from certain people, I mute a lot of people
Yeah. There's
on
some
the
people.
gram and all of that type of stuff. I'm not really on social media like that
Mhm.
anyway. But for certain people, it's like every time it's like, oh, okay, I got to keep up on what they're doing
Yeah.
because I have kind of a vested interest in this. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
I didn't watch this show for 20 years. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
right. Gotta see the
saying?
season finale.
I
Yeah.
gotta see this.
And I mean, like, same thing for me, right? Like, again,
Uh-huh.
like throughout the years, we've had that connection, just
Yeah.
parents in the Air Force, like growing
Yeah.
up in this sort of like majority black town, like where
Yeah.
people, like, it was like, I look back because I'm really into politics and stuff too, because that's
Mhm.
what I went to school for.
Mhm.
It's like the socioeconomic condition of PG County is absurd. Like, nowhere else is like this. And that was
Not
just
in
normal
America.
for us. Yeah,
Yeah,
not in
not in America.
America for sure.
Yeah. Maybe some I don't know, maybe somewhere in Africa
But,
somewhere people are
yeah,
living good. Like I have no idea. I wouldn't even
I mean, but like,
I wouldn't know where to look, but
where are black people making moves like that? Where is there like that ingrained culture of like
oh
uh
man.
Netflix is about to drop some documentary about Baltimore club music, like the
Mm,
go-go sound that came out of there.
mm,
Um, just everything about that town and
yeah,
what it meant for guys like me and you. Because like
yeah,
I think it's directly attributed to the fact that we can slide in these positions, can meet people of a certain stature, and
yeah,
keep it pushing. And like,
yeah.
I don't know, man, that's just a blessing, I guess.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There have been many times where I've been on set for something and I've had to go in the bathroom and like realize that yeah, I belong here. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And I know I belong here because I look back. I look where
right.
I came from. I look how I was raised. I look in, the town. I'm like,
Yeah,
man, I'm a stag, bro. Like,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on,
for real. Yeah,
like this is what we do. We stand out. You know what I mean?
that's true,
So
man. And
yeah.
like you said, like even if like I said, I'm still boys like my buddy DJ Jackson, he's out there killing it in the jujitsu game and stuff,
Absolutely. Yep,
right?
yep.
And we're close, and like we don't talk all the time, but when we do, just like we're doing right now, we pick up like like it was 15 years ago. It's crazy,
Yeah.
man. But
Same.
but like you said, when I saw that you were doing moves, I was like, all right, I gotta talk to, I gotta listen, hear about this journey, about this process, because like I already know it's gonna work out. Like, I got no
Absolutely.
doubt about it because
Yeah.
I know you, right?
Yeah.
And just us having this conversation, like I know you're putting in the work. There's no question about it. So,
Absolutely.
um, look, you know what it takes to get there. Just like I'm telling you, like kind of my roadmap is like I purposefully have like pulled back a little bit, but like now, like I said, it's time to go because it's
Hmm.
ready.
Yeah.
We put that in the oven and it's ready. So let's go do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. It's
Yeah.
definitely time.
Yeah.
Like, man, yeah. And when you step back, because at first I had a lot of success in the
Hmm.
first, 2, 3 years of acting. I was like, okay, I'm doing a lot of commercials. Boom, boom. I see people recognize me at grocery stores and stuff like that. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now people are saying, oh, you could be ready for the New York level. And I'm like,
Right.
okay. But it was in 2018, in the fall of 2018, I decided I need to start a 3-year conservatory program because I
Right.
don't want to get to New York and not know what I'm doing.
No, you don't.
I don't want to be on set for anything and they're like, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "No, I
Yeah.
can't. I'm sorry. I just never developed the skills." That's across the, especially when it comes to Shakespeare,
Sure.
producing emotion and da da
Hmm.
da da da, like, so I think when you have that mindset of I am a tool, I'm a tool. I'm just,
Right.
use me,
Right.
then you can't help but win,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
I love that instinct of like, you didn't let it just get to your head. It's like, all right, let's go. Let's go. New York, right? You're like, all
right.
right, let me get in this stagecraft.
Yep. Yep.
Let me learn some lessons, meet some people that have been there, can kind of show you the ropes and say, oh no, you don't want to do that just yet. Cause like that's, you know, you might run into this scenario. Like
Mhm.
as a comic, like I look at guys that like just run New York and there's a style of New York comedy
Mm.
that it works. It's good. And like you'll be a New York killer, but like you gotta learn some things that you could take out to the Midwest. Some you
Mm.
could take down to the South, right? Like
Mhm.
ain't a lot of subways in Biloxi, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you don't want to just be a New York act. So
Right.
in my again opinion, I wanted to kind of branch out, try some different looks, and figure out what it is that I wanted to say before I got into that environment because I didn't want it to become me. Like I got to find my voice before I just
Yeah,
like
I get it.
jump
Yep,
in.
yep. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. That makes 100% sense because then, then like we were saying before, then what you're saying and what you're doing becomes kind of expected. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You
Yeah,
want to be, you want to be you. You want to be
yeah,
your flavor.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
absolutely.
I feel that like as a writer or actor or anything like that, if you can do what you do, just
Mhm.
at whatever level you're at, it's like it's just gonna make it a lot easier, man. When you're trying to like fit into a box that you don't fit in, you're
Right.
gonna fight it, man. You're not gonna be able to just slot in, dude.
Yo, when I first started auditioning up in New York, my manager told me like I took some new headshots because I cut my hair off,
Hmm.
and I people don't know I had dreads that were going down past my butt at
Yeah.
that point, and I cut them things clean off
Hmm.
and didn't care, don't miss them at all, no,
Right.
nah, never. um, but I took these new headshots and I was trying to be different things, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, like I had a nerd look, I had
Right.
a tough guy look, I
Right.
had the
Right.
teacher look, I had the dad look, and then my manager was like, "Tyler, who are you?"
Right.
And I was like, "Whoa, bro, what's up with this deep question?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
talking about? What do you mean, who am I? Don't ask that. I don't know."
Right. Right.
But that really, he said, if you can submit this headshot for the tough guy or
Mhm.
whatever from like a tough guy, especially on these New York dramas like Law and Order, Blue Bloods, da 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 da,
Right.
or they can just hire a tough guy from New York.
Right.
They're gonna take the latter because that's easier, that's less to pay for. Meanwhile, you're trying to do all of this work to get into character,
Hmm.
someone that's not naturally you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Play the love interest, play the educated dude. If you're gonna be
Hmm.
bad, you're probably gonna be the smartest guy in the room. It is,
Hmm.
like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
cool. So that requires what we're saying, requires a degree of self-acceptance,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
um, and
I,
just knowing what you naturally give off, despite me. Maybe I wanted to be, I could be tough, you know what I'm saying? All my idols are tough, you know what I'm saying?
right.
I could do that as well.
I think when you were talking about being a stag, like a DeMatha high school graduate,
Yeah,
because of just the level of exceptional people that we got to meet, like that
yeah,
were good at a myriad amount of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I learned very quickly that you can't outshine somebody in their lane. It
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So you better start accepting who you are. And I found that like, just my different interests, like, no, that's you, right? Like you
Yeah.
are doing shit, and sometimes, certain people may say, "Yo, bro, why you like that?" It's like, hey, man, I don't know, man. It's what I like. It's what I
Yeah.
like. And then you have these experiences and these stories that like nobody else has my experience.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, nobody else can, talk about the anime convention and like me,
Yeah.
like and especially like we were talking about Marvel and DC movies earlier, like all that stuff got in fashion. I was like, damn, like all this stuff that wasn't necessarily like the cool stuff of growing up. It's mainstream right now. This is a
Cool
great
now.
time.
Yeah. I played one of my songs for my girlfriend. I played this, I forgot what it was called, but I played one where I'm rapping about T'Challa and Storm when they
Yeah,
had the relationship before they
yeah,
broke up in the comics or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, this was way back when they was together. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm playing. I'm like, yo, this is me back in 2010. You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Y'all just getting hip.
yeah.
Y'all some clowns for real.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It is a little bit of that gatekeeping in me that
Oh yeah, yeah. Nah, like if you come from a fandom and you've been there for the long haul, yeah, it's
yeah,
understandable. It's
yeah, yeah,
understandable.
yeah. You earned it. You earned it.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, like that's the thing, and I think personally, just watching you operate because I think, like you said, we watch each other, right?
Mhm.
Um, uh, the way that you've approached things in life and the way that like you've just done you, right? I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, man, like that's a good thing to learn because when you see people making that type of move, you're like, it's working out for them. Maybe it's gonna work out for me, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. And it's not, it's not the exact same path that you're ever gonna take,
yeah,
but there are certain like general rules that apply. You know what I'm saying? Like you
yeah,
gotta work, you gotta do this, you gotta
yeah,
do that. You can't spend all your time, blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
You gotta.
Ten crack commandments.
Yeah, yeah. Crack
Yeah,
commandments. Don't
yeah,
shit when you sleep.
yeah, exactly.
All of that. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
well,
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's a lot of pitfalls, especially in these
there,
entertainment
there are,
businesses. You're
there
well
are.
aware of this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
There's 1,000. There's more than 1,000. There's 200
yeah.
million ways to fail. You know what I'm saying?
Bad habits, and you
Bad
don't
habit.
don't start them because once you start them, you can't break them.
Can't break them.
You
You
know?
can't. It's so hard. It's so difficult.
Yeah,
It really just takes a lot of like deep work
yeah,
where you just cut everything out and just look and be honest about yourself. And
totally.
that's really what was his name? Oh, of course, it's Bong Joon-ho, the guy who won for Parasite.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When he was talking when he got his Oscar award or whatever, he was talking about Martin Scorsese, and he says the best stories are the most personal.
Hmm.
And that's in other words, for me, the best performers are the most honest at the
Yes,
same time.
yeah, and
So
and
you know,
definitely in my craft too. Like when I see people who like
oh yeah,
no one else can do that, those are my favorite people, man.
yeah,
But
absolutely,
but
definitely.
yo, man, it's been awesome catching up with you, dude.
Likewise, I lose
If
track of
you ever
time.
got any projects or anything like that, you're trying to promote, we got your back. We're alumni.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
look out for each other, and hopefully soon you'll be able to see me doing some major stuff. But
yeah, yeah. Appreciate it.
yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
you will, man. I'm sure you will.
yeah. But catch my man Ty Hopkins. Is there any like social or anything you want? I know you're not on social a lot, but anything you want
Oh
to
yeah,
promote?
yeah, yeah. I mean, Instagram. I check it a few times a week or something like that.
Okay,
You can follow me at tyhopkins underscore
hmm,
tyhopkins underscore, and that's it, man.
awesome, man. And
Yeah,
Secret Society, it's out now. Came out 2021, Amazon Prime.
yeah.
I bought it. I was like, rent. The rent was almost as much as buying. I was like, you know what?
No,
My,
you saw how they did
I was like, fuck it. Here's another five, man. Just
that.
in case I want to revisit this. but look, it's a phenomenal movie. We're not going to spoil it.
Mm,
I'm proud of you, bro.
appreciate
It's
that,
good
man.
to see you taking this journey, and I've got the utmost faith. I'm going to see you in a lot more stuff, and hopefully you still take my calls.
Always, bro. Always. That's partially why I did this.
Yeah,
Always, man.
yeah, man.
For
So,
sure.
hey, man, appreciate it, bro. I'll catch you.
Yeah. Thank you.